Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and I want to show you a little trick to hopefully prevent your Ark Survival Ascended game from continuing to crash over and over and over again. And there's a few basic things that you can change, just little check marks, as well as verifying integrity. I'm going to go through all of that, as well as some tips and tricks in order to prevent it, because a lot of your problems are probably the same as the ones that I have experienced. So let's go ahead and check all that out. Now, if you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and consider subbing to the channel. It's my dream to get to 100K, and I'm getting close. All right, so anyways, a few basic things. So a majority of your crashes are going to be due to graphical issues, because Ark Survival Ascended early game especially is very, very rough on a graphics card. So in order to change some of your crashes, if you can get into the game, this is what you're going to start with, right? So what I'm going to suggest immediately, right off the bat, go to your video. Now, once you get to your video, you're going to do a few basic things. If you are having crashing issues, first thing you want to do is cap your frame rate. Cap it at something between 30 and 60 FPS, because you're probably not going to be getting much more than 30 or 60 FPS off the bat anyways. So capping that makes a major difference, because it basically causes your computer to not have to try and render too much more. So it's a huge fix right off the bat. Now, the next thing, even if you're running on epic settings like I am right now, always turn off these three settings: light shafts, light bloom, and motion blur. As soon as you turn these on, the amount of strain that it places on your computer is absolutely nuts. It's insane. I can't even describe it to you. The amount of strain, like I have turned this on when I've been on low before, and it immediately will crash my computer as soon as I check mark these guys on. Now, leaving them off is one of the key things, because for some reason, motion blur, it causes it crazy. Like whenever you're turning, it makes me sick to my stomach. So I always turn it off in every game anyways. But all three of these end up getting checked on the, on some of the settings, the presets. So making sure these turned off are a massive improvement that you can make in order to prevent your game from crashing a crap load. Now, the next thing is make sure you pay attention to the actual graphics quality presets. You should not be running epic unless you're in the 4070 plus or probably 3090 Ti plus range for graphics. If you don't have a higher end graphics card, stick to medium. That's one of the biggest things that you can do to prevent graphics errors from crashing, and medium will be a massive change for you. Now, let's say you want to get a little bit frisky with the graphics, but you still have a lower end graphics cards. Some of the things that you can do: drop your foliage quality, drop your shadows quality, and then drop this down 1. All three of those, dropping those down 1, plus this down 2 to whatever you're on, will make your game run way smoother. It's basically just making it so even though everything up close looks nice and pretty, from a distance you don't need to render all that in, because what's the value of being able to see super far away anyways, other than a little bit of niceties, right? So those are all your video settings that you can do right off the bat. Those are all things that are easy to do, not a big problem, and you don't have to change them. Now, there are a few other settings that you can change also that will help you out a ton. Now, when you go into the RTX, I like to make sure my DLSS is on. This will help you if you're on the higher end of the graphics. Now, I like to also focus not on the performance side. I feel like I get a major difference in crashes when I move towards the quality side of things, because I'm trying to actually, I don't know why it makes a major difference. It just seems to for me, but that's personal opinion. You can also turn this off, the NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency. That's up to you. Now, UI, other things that you can do off the bat is to reduce the clutter on your screen, because when you're in the game, the more things you have to load, the more difficult it is on your graphics card. So what you want to do is get rid of things like floating names, because when you've got 150 tames, the floating names are going to cause you an intense amount of lag, and it's going to cause problems, right? That's going to cause problems. You can also just do it, hide floating names for players. That'll help a lot. And just anything in here that you're willing to drop off, right, the better off you are. Even something as stupid as join notifications, you don't want to crank everything up unless you have a high-end graphics card. Keep all those on their lower settings and turn off what you can turn off. Now, those I don't really care about those. Yes, I want to accept. So now that's assuming that you can change your graphics errors because you can get into the game. Let's say your game has crashed and you can't get into the game. What you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and go into your Steam files, right? Now, once you get into your Steam files, what I want you to do is I want you to go to the game itself, right? I'm not actually going to run this because I'm running the game. If you right click, I want you to verify the integrity of your game files. And essentially what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to check the original game files that you downloaded versus the one that you have at that point in time. So we're going to go to properties. We're going to go to installed files, and then see the option that says verify integrity of game files. If you click that, it's going to literally compare every single file that you have, and then it's going to check to see what actually is working. And if you have any files that do not match up, because the game isn't very big right now, it's very quick, it'll say installing 1 new file or installing 2 new files or whatever it is, right? That is how you fix a lot of problems, because when you have mods, you're playing the game, you're changing things around, it's going to corrupt. It's called corrupted files. Not a big deal. It's just something changes inside of the file that means you have to uninstall and reinstall that individual file, not the entire game, just that file. Now, let's say you've turned the graphics settings down, you've gone ahead and changed this right here, right? And it's still not working, even though it's worked in the past. My biggest suggestion, uninstall and reinstall the game, because for sometimes the game gets some of the mod files, the caches and all those kinds of things get corrupted. And sometimes the best thing you can do is uninstall and reinstall the game itself. Now, those are all great tips. Let's say that's still not working for you. You're still having major crash issues. What you can do is you can go into your console commands and enter any of these to layer 0. So water single layer 0, shadow quality 0, volumetric cloud 0. All of these are essentially going to drop the graphics down in your game. These are like hidden commands that you're not going to be able to see unless you actually enter them. And shadow quality 0. Anything you see with a 1, change it to a 0, and then slowly bring it back up until your game is more stable, right? These are all little tips and tricks that can help prevent your game from crashing. The number of crashes that I've had in this game have almost all been isolated to something graphics related. So by changing those and turning those down, I have got the stability of my game on a much better level, and I'm running it on a much higher overall graphics setting now that I understand the few settings that I can actually change. So anyways, hopefully this video helps you out. If they're experiencing other issues, let me know below and I'll try and fix them for you, or I'll try and come up with some ideas. This is what I've experienced that has helped a ton. So other than that, Teach out.